Jen, the president said the world is appalled by the killing of Jim Foley, but he vowed to continue the fight against the terrorists. The president spoke from Martha's Vineyard, where he is vacationing. Before speaking to reporters, the president placed a call to the parents of James Foley, telling them Americans are all heartbroken at their loss. The president gave no indication that the gruesome video of Foley's murder and threats to kill another American would force the U.S. to change its course. He said fighting for justice was something Foley believed in.
That's what Jim Foley stood for. A man who lived his work, who courageously told the stories of his fellow human beings, and who was liked and loved by friends and family. Today, the American people will all say a prayer for those who love Jim. All of us feel the ache of his absence. All of us mourn his loss. We keep in our prayers those other Americans who are separated from their families.
And less than an hour after the president spoke, came word that U.S. warplanes had conducted more airstrikes against ISIS targets. Live in the newsroom, I'm Shelley Walcott, WMUR News 9.
Now, the U.S. continues to focus on confronting ISIS, both with the airstrikes that Shelley just mentioned, but also with some strong words today.
Kristen Carosa continues our team coverage now with reaction from officials about the threat posed by this terrorist group.
New Hampshire's congressional delegation is reacting to the beheading of American journalist James Foley.
New Hampshire is feeling this very deeply, as is the rest of the world, and we send our love and our prayers to the family.
I am terribly sad about what's happened to Jim Foley, but I am angry about this threat.
As many continue to mourn, some are reacting to more than just his death. They're talking about his murderers, the radical group ISIS, who has taken over large areas of Syria and Iraq, killing thousands of civilians.
This is a threat not just to people on the ground in those countries, but as we saw with their execution of James Foley, they're obviously a threat to the United States as well.
ISIS militants released a video showing Foley's killing and say it is retribution for U.S. airstrikes in Iraq. In the video, a member of ISIS tells the U.S. to stop its presence in Iraq or they will kill American journalist Steven Sotloff, who was also kidnapped last year.
We have to defeat these terrorists because they are a threat to us, and what happened to James Foley is a demonstration on how evil and how brutal these terrorists are.
Despite the threat of losing more lives, both Senator Shaheen and Senator Ayotte say the United States will continue their work to put a stop to these terrorist threats.
We have to address this threat of ISIS because the brutality of this group, what they have done against Christians, what they did against James Foley, they present a threat to our homeland as well.
Kristen Carosa, WMUR News 9.